This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the date of the big game first before you accidentally buy tickets on your 20th wedding anniversary and have to spend the next 20 years of your marriage making up for it. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
Our final game preview of the season finally made it to the I guess the finish line. Maybe I think we're getting there. Looking like we started, but I think the Bears are limped into the final stages of this race of the 2024 season.
Like DJ Moore, I'm just ready for vacation now.
Man, who you telling? I'm ready for vacation too. I'm tired of talking about this iteration of the Chicago Bears, but we do have a job to do. So I'm gonna keep it. I ain't gonna do too much. I'm gonna keep it light on them. The Bears have one more game left on the season, and it's against those filthy, disgusting Wisconsin Packers. And if the Bears get their teeth kicked in this game, I wouldn't care, right? I think that's the best thing for them.
Not at all. If we can move up a couple spots in the draft, I'm all for it.
As you've said in previous episodes, remember the 97 season and what the Bears didn't do?
Get Peyton Manning.
Right.
Because they won a game at the end of the season. They ended up with Curtis Eaton. They also didn't get Randy Moss in that draft either, which I begged them to do. I wanted the Bears to draft Randy Moss badly. And instead, they decided to get the big power running back who runs about a 4.6 with no explosion, Curtis Enos. Old Dave Wanstead. Smash mouth football.
Mustache Wanstead. Well, we didn't need Randy Moss now. We had Marcus Robinson and Curtis Conway. We were good.
Marcus was a baby that year. He was just getting into the league. Randy Moss and Marcus Robinson on opposite sides with Curtis Conway in the slot would have been something to.
The league wasn't ready for that. The league wasn't ready for that.
I don't think they had enough arm to get to those guys.
Who was the quarterback that year?
98. That was
it Miller?
That was Eric Kramer last season, or was he still there? That was before. There was a lot of guys playing quarterback for the Bears that year.
Yeah, because I don't think I always want to call this dude Shane Falco.
You talking about Shane Matthews?
Yeah, I don't think he joined the team until 99, right?
He had 2 runs with the Bears.
Right.
Back in 99. He was on the Wanstead Bears, I think 97 or 96. No, I'm about to look this up. Who was I believe Eric Kramer, yeah. So Eric Kramer started 8 games that year. And then Steve Stenstrom. Do you remember that guy?
Brutal.
Yeah, started 7. And then we saw Moses Moreno. That was one of the quarterbacks I've seen in a Bears uniform, and I've seen some brutal Bears quarterback. We saw Moses Moreno start the last game of the year. I think I went down to visit family in Springfield or something and actually missed the second half of that game. I think the game he started was against the Buccaneers. It was a terrible 4-12 season, and brutal.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think we had enough arm to get the ball to Randy Moss or Marcus Robinson in that season. Curtis Conway would have to lead the team in catches because Moses Moreno, his max was about 13 yards. There was no way.
Stenstrom. I don't know if you remember Steve Stenstrom. He was the original noodle arm quarterback in Chicago. I mean, Major looked like he has a cannon.
Terrible, man. Kramer, I forgot what happened to him that year. He got hurt, didn't he?
He got hurt, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Ugh. I'm about tired of reliving brutal Bears history. Let's get on.
Eric Kramer holding the single season passing yard record. Please, Caleb, hurry up and get him off of the top of our single season passing yards leader. That 3,800 yards was good in the 90s. It is not supposed to be your team single season record holder. We got to get that out of here. We that has to go.
I blame Cutler.
Cutler is to blame for a lot of stuff. He is to blame for a lot of stuff. That should have been a record he should have toppled easily, especially when he had Forte, Martellus Bennett, Alshon Jeffrey, and not Marcus Robinson, Brandon Marshall.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly why he's locked up now.
Yeah.
Don't do what he's supposed to do.
Don't free him.
No. Stay his ass in jail. You know who else needs to go to jail? Everybody that is a Packer fan. But as we said, the Bears don't need to win this game. They had more than 2 months to win games, and they chose not to. Don't need to win this one either. Even though it's widely thought that the Packers are not going to play their guys, so the Bears could mess around and get a pity win to end the season.
Matt LaFleur is holding those cards close to his chest. He's acting like he's expecting. There's nothing for the Packers to play for unless they want to avoid the Eagles in the first round and end up playing the Rams or the Buccaneers. I would personally rather play the Rams or Buccaneers than the Eagles. But I think Baker Mayfield may light the Packers up too. No Jared Alexander. That secondary's looking vulnerable. I don't know. So I don't know. Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans might be a bad matchup with a little bit of Bucky on the side.
Oh yeah, Baker a beast. You don't want to get in the shoot. You don't want to get into one of those winner go home games with Baker. Because Baker will mess around and put you out.
My guy Bucky, I've been banging the drums for him. As you know, I've been banging the drums for Bucky since before fantasy draft season. How high does he go next year?
I think he's still a second round pick.
Second round? That's about.
Yeah. Second round pick for Bucky because he's still a little under the radar. Now it depends, people get to like chirping his name up and come around May and stuff like that. You mess around, go number 7.
This is why I'm starting to like keeper leagues and dynasty leagues because I'm tired of people taking these guys that I scout from college and overdraft them the next year. I need guys like Bucky to stay on my roster for the low draft value. I got him in the last round in your league.
Helped you out tremendously.
Not enough. the Caucasians really destroyed me this year. They had it out for me this year.
As they tend to do. So I'm gonna go through the injury report right now for both teams. So the Bears, Larry Borum, he's a full participant in practice today, Thursday. He did miss Wednesday due to some sort of sickness. So he's on track to back up. Well, he's on track to play. He's going to start because, as you all remember, Braxton Jones, he's done for the foreseeable future. Elijah Hicks, he hasn't practiced all week. Travis Homer, he hasn't practiced all week, and neither has Tevin Jenkins or Roma Duze. All these guys have not logged one practice on for the week yet. Travarius Moore, full participant all week, and Kyler Gordon, surprise, he hasn't practiced all week as well. He's also dealing with some sort of sickness.
We all are. I came into New Year's with a little virus. I've been having mucus, headaches. I never get sick either, and a stuffy nose, congestion, and I'm also sick of the Bears.
Definitely sick of this team. So the Green Bay Packers, Jaire Alexander, he hasn't practiced all week, and he hasn't played in a couple of weeks, right? And I think they said
he's out to the Super Bowl. That's what he's out to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he had surgery on his knee earlier this week.
Yep. You missed my emphasis. The Packers said he's out till the Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're not gonna go that far, so his season's done. Who else? Zane Anderson. He hasn't practiced all week with a concussion. Javon Bullard. He's been limited all week. Andre Dillard and Brenton Cox Jr. They haven't practiced all week. Quay Walker. He hasn't practiced all week. Christian Watson, Evan Williams. They are just like Quay. They have not practiced. And Tucker Kraft limited, and so is Josh Jacobs with a limited tag. So it's gonna be weird for them.
I don't think Jacobs is gonna play.
Yeah, I doubt it too. So Q, I think the biggest question is this for this game. If the Packers do choose to not play Josh Jacobs and a bunch of other big name guys like Jordan Love majority of this game, what's the Bears' chances of winning this game?
Unfortunately, very strong because the Bears look like they're going to start everybody.
As they need to.
What'd you say?
As they should.
Thomas Brown said it's never been a question of whether Caleb's going to play the last game of the season. I know Tiff, our missing co-host, wanted Caleb to not play in the final game. I know we talked about it a little bit on the show, but it looks like he's definitely going to play. So all Bears will be playing. So they have no reason to get out there and lose to Green Bay. I mean, we've never had a reason to lose to Green Bay before, and we still do it. So I don't know. I would wager the Bears should win this game, though.
Well, DraftKings still has them as a 10-point dog on going on the road to Lambeau.
I'm money right now because I do think Green Bay is not going to play their starters. Are they that scared of the Eagles? Green Bay, Wisconsin, are you all that fearful of Saquon Barkley and A.J. Brown that you're going to play to avoid them, to try to tank just to get beat by the Buccaneers? Is that what you're going to do? So Baker could spank that ass? That's what you Wisconsin people want? I'd rather lose to Saquon and Jalen Hurts. At least you're losing to an MVP candidate in Saquon. Baker is going to be obnoxious when he beats you. He's going to run around. He's going to scream. He's going to yell. Nobody likes losing to Baker Mayfield. The Commanders have 10 wins. The Packers have 11. And I believe the Commanders have the first tiebreaker because the Packers haven't beat anybody in the division besides us. So the Packers can still slide to 7 because the loser of the Lions-Vikings game, which is unfortunate because this will be a 14-win team that'll slide all the way down to number 5 and will open up on the road. I don't know. Maybe the NFL should change that. A 14-win team going on the road in wild card week. First of all, I don't know if I've ever seen a 14-win team since we've had well, I guess we're down to 1 bye week because there's 7 teams in the playoffs. I've never seen a 14-win team not be a division winner. Second of all, I've never seen a 14-win team open the playoffs on the road. So that's going to be unique. Yeah, the Packers can still slide to 7 because the Commanders can still be ahead of them.
Actually, you just had me look it up. This whole time I thought Green Bay had a decent lead on the Commanders. Actually, they have the same record.
Yeah.
If you look at it right now, the Commanders are the 6th seed.
Exactly.
So the Packers, if they do want to avoid Philadelphia, they need to win.
They need to win. Yeah, they need to win. I think I don't want to make this a Packers show, but I think they best match up with the Rams. I think that's their best bet. I don't think necessarily the Buccaneers are better than the Rams, but I think right now with the way the Packers are, I think their best bet is to match up with the Rams.
Yeah, I don't think Philadelphia is all that hot. So it really doesn't make a difference to me. I think Philadelphia is. I mean,
Packers won regardless. They're not going to beat Philly.
I don't think they can beat the Rams.
You know what? The Rams defense, all that drafting on the defensive line, pay attention, polls. Those guys, Jared Verse is going to be defensive rookie of the year, right? He's in the Pro.
I can see that.
I think he's the only rookie defensive player in the Pro Bowl, right? Pro Bowl released today. Jared Verse is going to be Rookie of the Year. Kobe Turner's tough. Fisk is tough. They've done nothing but draft pass rushers the last couple of years, and it's manifested.
Mm-hmm.
Polls, can we get some offensive line? Can we do the same thing?
We can start doing the same thing as long as we lose this game and some other things break our way. We move up the draft order, and we should be in line to get either the number one offensive lineman on the board, or maybe one of the top defensive linemen on the board. We have a shot.
Abdul Carter. You know, when I usually like somebody in a draft, it manifests into a good player. That Abdul Carter from Penn State, I would love him as a Bear. Mason Graham, I would love as a Bear. I'd also like Kelvin Banks. The knock on Kelvin Banks from Texas is he's not that great a run blocker, but the guy he's top tier in pass protection. I need Caleb Upright, and he's a true left tackle. I'm prioritizing Kelvin Banks. Will Campbell is a big mountain of a man. He's not a left tackle. He might not be a right tackle. He might be a guard. I would love Kelvin Banks.
Guard? If he's that big, if he's I don't know how big he is, but if he's
huge. He's Tevin Jenkins size.
Oh well, he ain't that big.
He's 6'7".
You can't play 6'7" interior.
Listen, they're saying he projects as either a guard or a tackle. That's one thing that scares me. I think he's got to be a right tackle. I would move Darnell inside. Darnell Wright looks like he's a future guard to me.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, 6'7" on the interior, that's a little too tall.
Well, Kevin Long did it. Long did it. I'm sorry, Kyle Long. Kyle Long did it. But I prefer a guy 6'7" should be on the outside. He's got the wingspan. Yeah. Get his feet together. If he can't mirror edge rushers on the left side, he should be a strong right tackle. I'll take either one of them. My wish list is 4 guys on it. Those are the 4 guys. Give me one of those 4, I'll be happy.
And the way we get to this is by losing this game. But before we go that far into that, let's talk about the Bears offense versus the Packers defense. So we don't know exactly who's going to play for the Packers just yet, because they're BSing about will they play or won't they play. But let's just assume that at the start of the game, and if their natural starters on defense are playing, who has the advantage? Their defense or our offense? Our offense. Mind you, I don't expect Rome to play.
No Rome, no Braxton, of course, because Braxton's probably going to be lingering into the offseason. What exactly was his injury?
He broke his ankle.
So he's probably not going to be ready. He's not going to be ready in minicamp. It probably should be good by training camp. So you got Larry Borum or Amadechi playing at left tackle. Either way, it's not a good thing. The Bears' offensive line has been brutal with all of its injuries. I'd give an edge to the Packers, especially losing Rowe and DJ being on vacation. Is DJ on vacation officially yet?
If you ask me, DJ Moore has been on vacation for at least the last 3 or 4 weeks.
I don't want to insinuate, but we've heard Cole Kmet at several points in the season talking about accountability. We've heard Jalen Johnson talk about coaching change. Cole Kmet has really driven home the point of guys being accountable, preparation. I don't know if DJ came into this year. I don't want to throw out not focus, but him and Keenan, just uncharacteristic drops, lack of detail, DJ with the frustration. I mean, I don't know if they came in as focused as they should have. And if the coaching staff held them accountable like they should have. I mean, Keenan, the drops have been for a guy who was placed among the league elite in terms of hands, he sure lets ball skip off his hands. No, did he? He lets ball skip off his hands a lot this year. Seems like every other week it's a critical drop by Keenan.
Keenan's the worst third down receiver in the league this year. The Bears have the worst in a lot of areas. The worst tackles, the worst guards, the worst center, the worst third down receiver. As I said, the worst. I don't.
Linebacker maybe.
I don't want to go that far. We will find out though.
Seeing Tremaine Edmonds make a tackle at the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage of a running back.
Well, if he has, I completely missed it. I don't think I've seen him do it all year. The Bears have got the worst in a lot of areas. But as of what we're talking about right now, as far as their offense versus the Packers defense, if they do fancy themselves as trying to go into the offseason on a high by beating the Packers, even if the Packers don't even play their guys the whole game, do you buy into that type of thought process that you actually do want to go into the offseason with a dub after a long season of L after L after
L? I buy into the belief that you want to go into the offseason with momentum, but after losing 10 straight and being 4-12, this win is meaningless. I mean, winning this game would be meaningless. Now, if you were trying to get above 500, you're trying to get to a ninth win. Yeah, I think that does do some mojo for heading to. This does nothing. There's nothing positive a win can do besides compromised draft position. Now, last year, I thought going into the Packers game at the end of last year, you're 7-9. That would have been a good thing to get a win. You were already getting number one pick from Carolina. You were 7-9. The Packers needed to win to get in. That would have been a good thing in that type of environment because they were pretty much in their playoff. It was win or go home, so it was playoff atmosphere. That would have been a good win to get going into the offseason, getting the 8th win. This one does nothing. There's nothing to do. There's nothing good about winning this game.
Yeah, I'm going to push back a little bit on that. It isn't the player's job to focus on draft position.
No, you're right.
That's on Ryan Poles. If he keeps his job, long enough, his job is to take what he's given with the draft position he has and make a souffle out of whatever the ingredients are there.
I don't disagree with the notion that it's not on the players to try to lose, because at the end of the day, they're still playing for a contract with this team or another team. I'm just looking at it from an organizational standpoint. It's best the Bears lose this game.
Oh yeah, we definitely agree with that one. Sidebar: Tremaine Edmonds has 3 tackles for loss on the season.
That's not enough.
With the money he's getting paid as the green dot, definitely not enough.
Not with the way teams have ran the ball on us. There's been plenty of opportunities, and he is not taking advantage.
No. So let that be the segue to talk about the Bears defense against the Packers offense. You said you don't expect to see Josh Jacobs at all. Josh Jacobs has been a beast this season. I wouldn't expect to see him either. I mean, you want to preserve your running backs, and if a running back that's very vital.
And shout out to Josh Jacobs. Shout out to him having a good year after being my draft pick 2 years ago and absolutely pissing the bed for me. Shout out Josh Jacobs. And shout out Josh Jacobs. This is not the first time he did this to me. He had a bad year the last time I drafted him. Shout out Josh Jacobs for ruining my fantasy team and then for having a bounce back year. Good on you.
Josh Jacobs, he must hate you.
This is the second time he did it to me in 2021. He did it after having a back-to-back 1,000-yard years to start his career. He had ran for 800 yards and didn't do much. In his third year, I drafted him in another league, and I was like, I'm not drafting him again. Ran for 1,600 yards the year after I swore I wasn't going to draft him. Then I gave him a reprieve in 2023, and he burned me again. The only 2 years Josh has not gone over 1,000 yards are the years I drafted him. I should draft him again because he's a Packer next year. You know what? I'm drafting Josh Jacobs. I'm willing to sacrifice one of my fantasy teams to ruin him. I'm drafting you, Josh Jacobs, next year.
I like that energy. I like that energy. You gotta
listen. I know how to find running backs. I'll find one later in the draft, but I'm drafting Josh in the first round.
Do it. You hear that, Packers? You got a 7-win season coming because Josh Jacobs ain't gonna do it for you.
Nope. He ain't carrying Jordan Love no more.
Nope. Jordan Love got to do it himself. To which, if we're not going to see Josh Jacobs at all this game, Jordan Love. If they don't play Josh Jacobs, I don't think you definitely don't see Jordan Love, at least not more than a couple of series. Yeah. In which he's only handing the ball off to the most part. I mean, for the most part, or throwing the ball to Tucker Kraft on like a play on some type of play action. That's the type of only stuff I want to. That's the type of stuff I will expect to see if their plan is to protect their most valuable asset. With that said, the Bears defense, they should have a fantastic week against the backup running back and the backup quarterback against the Packers, right?
I'm trying to find out right now if they're going to play them. I'm looking at Packers media. They're talking about they're going to use it as a tune-up game for the playoffs, whatever that means. I don't know if that's just rhetoric or if they're actually going to play. I hope he plays and sprains his ankle.
That wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. So Malik Willis, in the 2 games he played for Jordan Love and early in the season, the Packers went 2-0. I mean, he played well if you compare it to how he looked in Tennessee. I don't think it was transformational in that way that was like I guess something along the lines of something you need to be really concerned about. However, this is the Bears defense talking about. This is the Bears we're talking about. They do a lot of careless things, and they don't pay enough attention to the details. Malik Willis, he can be a little loose with his passes, but he is a very good athlete.
Very cool. And he throws well on the run too when they get him outside the pocket.
We talked about Tremaine Edmonds not making enough plays near the line of scrimmage, or behind the line of scrimmage for that matter. We talked about Montez Sweat enough times this season that he has disappearing acts. And you said that Malik Willis does throw well on the run. Jalen Johnson, who the only Bears player that was selected to the Pro Bowl this year. Jalen Johnson, he got to be on his P's and Q's as well, because he can't just sit back in his zone and all right, that side of the field's cut off. Malik Willis can scramble around and make some things happen. That scramble drill, everything becomes live. So I feel like the Bears are primed to be the laughing stock again for another week. They mess around and lose to backups, which I would say, the Bears are a lot of backups them damn selves. So,
you look at the interior of the defensive line, and did you see the guys that played last week?
Yeah.
There were guys that weren't on rosters earlier this year playing. Chris Williams was the main guy in the interior, and the Bears picked him up before week 1. You know, Ford, who played well, was a guy who wasn't. I think the last team he played on was the Packers in the preseason. You know, he's a guy that wasn't on the roster earlier this year, or he was on the practice squad. So, yeah, there's lots of backups playing for the Bears. And
Too many.
If Gordon doesn't play, you're looking at Blackwell or another guy getting called up.
My point to this is Thomas Brown has had a 6 weeks? 6 weeks as this will be the 6th week as an interim head coach for the Bears. If he even desires a hard look, right, as the head coach for the Bears, you can't let Malik Willis.
Ship has sailed on that. I don't think Thomas may get an interview courtesy of the Rooney Rule. I can sit here today, January 2nd, Happy New Year, everybody, 2025, and say Thomas Brown will not be the head coach of the Bears next year. I love black excellence. I would not be very happy if Thomas Brown was the head coach of the Bears next year.
Nah, as the head coach, no, because I think Thomas Brown excelled in the booth, and if he got to come out, if he got to be on the sideline, as you saw when he was in the booth, the offense was taking off. But when he came back, had to come down to the sideline,
coordinator,
he went right back.
You could sell me on him being an offensive coordinator. No, he's not ready to coach yet.
No, I mean, he was asking a lot anyway. He was the passing game coordinator, and then he had to go. Now he's the head coach. I mean,
that is a lot. 37. He's got years to hone his coaching technique and lots of years to learn. So, yeah, you're asking a lot.
Right. I mean, the Bears put him in a position that it's very, very difficult to succeed in, and that's what the Bears do. They put people in positions they can't succeed in. But I'm saying that if he does desire any type of good looks this offseason in the coaching discussion, he can't let Malik Willis go crazy against this team. Him, Eric Washington, they gotta be ready. They gotta be super, super ready for Jordan Love or Malik Willis. They got to be ready for whatever the Packers throw at them. Because let me tell you this, I don't expect to see Jordan Love. Because
culture malpractice to put Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs out there.
So the Commanders play Dallas at the same time as the Chicago plays the Packers, right? So theoretically, you could play them because just scoreboard watch, as they used to say back in the day. You could do that, but you've already clinched the playoffs. You already know you're going to play next week, whether that's in LA or in Philly.
There's nothing you can do about it. You're on the road.
Right. At the very most, I could probably see Jordan Love playing maybe into the second quarter. And based on what's going on in the other game, then they decided, like, okay, we're just going to pack it up. You're not getting a home field game regardless. So I can see it going either. I can see it going both ways. They could just say, you know what, we'll just start preparing for Philly right now.
Water roll.
Right. All right. So elsewhere with the defense, you did say Kyler Gordon he's not trending in a positive direction to playing. Which is, it is what it is. It is what it is. Jaquan Brisker, this season's over, obviously. Jalen Johnson is probably the only guy still left. Well, Tyreek Stevenson. Tyreek Stevenson, Jalen Johnson, they're the last of the Mohicans, and Kevin Byard in that secondary. So should they be able to contain the Packers wide receiver core, who are going to be without Christian Watson?
which is their usual anyways, though Christian Watson normally doesn't play.
No, he doesn't. I mean, they really only have Romeo Dobbs, and what's the other receiver?
Wicks.
And Jaden Reed, yeah.
Melton.
Mm-hmm. Even without Kyler Gordon and Jaquan Brisker, do you think we have the advantage in that space, or they still have the advantage?
I'm going to say it's about even, maybe slight advantage for them, because the one thing about the Packers is they don't really have a number one receiver. All those guys are kind of interchangeable. They're all the same level. You know, we've seen Wicks and Melton come in and play well. You've seen both tight ends come in, Kraft and I can't think of the other guy's name. You've seen both come in and play well. So without Gordon, who is one of the better nickels in the league, the talent drop-off is huge. So we're looking at either Blackwell. I think Jalen Jones is out for the year. You're looking at probably Blackwell in there. So I think Blackwell has done well when he's had a chance. But, yeah, Brisker hasn't played since week 5. And Elijah Hicks is also out. So the Bears secondary, you're down to a third-string safety. You're down to your backup nickel. Say that's about an even matchup.
I actually think they've shown enough over the last 2 seasons that they got this Bears secondary's number, and the Bears are again are going to be down 2 key guys in that secondary. So I definitely don't think this is a winning matchup for the Bears defense, for the Bears secondary,
especially with the defensive line already thinned out. I was looking at the game. I don't know why, but Montez Sweat didn't open up with the starters of the first series last week. I don't know if he's nursing an injury. You know, he's been kind of beaten up, especially with the Bears' defensive line so thin. So it's not like the secondary has the advantage of, pressures and a lot of sacks. So they'll be vulnerable. They'll be exposed a little bit, even against Packers backups.
So let's move it down from secondary to the front 7. You said Montez Sweat. He's been beaten up. We've talked about Tremaine Edmonds and being an invisible man out there for the defense. You got TJ Edwards, who racks up. He hasn't racked up tackles at the same clip this season as he did last season.
Hasn't been his best year.
It was a little regression. I mean, and I think that was to be expected because he was doing 12, 15 tackles a game last year.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we could expect that, right? I think it was fair. But Montez Sweat, he hasn't had the same impact weekly as with anybody else along that defensive line. I didn't see any big names missing for the Packers along their offensive line, other than Andre Dillard and Elgin Jenkins, but these are just guys for rest, right? So I think it's safe to say that they have the advantage, defensive line or defensive front 7 against their offensive line. If Josh Jacobs plays, I don't think you say you don't think he's going to play. I don't think if he does play, it's a series here and there. Same with Jordan Love. I think they'll both be tied to that same type of pitch count. But even if they do play, they definitely have the advantage against the Bears front 7, because I don't think I'm saying anything that's shocking when I say this. The Bears defense has regressed as a whole the last 6 weeks, maybe.
Everything has regressed since the Hail Mary.
I don't want to say everything. The defense itself has just been booty. It ain't been a top 5 defense.
Oh,
I mean,
top
when
10.
the season, no, it's been bottom 10, and a bunch of different areas the last month and a half. not a very it's not a very imposing defense anymore.
No.
The injuries, the
change of play callers.
I guess people going on vacation. Let's get a score prediction. I'm going to go ahead and my score prediction is going to be based on the Packers playing their guys for the first half. And then the second half, they come in with their backups. So I got the Packers scoring 27. The Bears score 24, which is that's terrible. You can only score 24. You have the game you play backups. It's kind of sad.
I've got Packers 24, Bears 23. Bears go for a 2-point conversion at the end after a furious comeback, and the 2-point conversion fails. Happy off season.
That would be such a Bears way to end the season.
And that's how they'll end it. And it was also a great season covering the Bears, even though the results were nowhere near what we thought. Nobody anticipated a 10-game losing streak. Fun ride, though.
Yeah, we both had the Bears winning 10 games this year. We're 6 games off. Sheesh.
Week 6, no, even week 7, until 1 second remained on that clock, it looked like we would easily cover that 10 games. We were going to be 5-2. We had the Patriots and Cardinals up next. It's been almost a nightmare. No, it has been a nightmare. You couldn't have told me when I was watching that 3 o'clock game a couple months back, heading into the last snap, that A, we were not going to be 5-2. B, this week would have no relevance. Now, I didn't think the Bears would I thought there would still be some bumps along the road, but I fully expected heading into this last week, the number of wins we had would be between 8 and 10, and we will be playing the Packers with a playoff spot on the line. I think we would have one secure, but I figured we'd be fighting for a playoff spot, not for a top 10 draft pick.
Yeah, if you couldn't tell, you could not have told me at any point leading up to the season or up to that, what was that, week 8?
Week 7, because we hadn't had a bye.
Yeah, okay, week 7. No, we had just came back from a bye.
Did we?
Yeah, we had 2 weeks to prepare.
Oh, right.
For the Commanders.
The Jaguars game.
Yeah.
London. Right. You are right. Sorry. Yeah, you're right.
So when we took the lead in week 8, if you had just paused everything like Zach Morris and Saved by the Bell and told me, hey, you're going to be fighting for a top 10 draft pick at the end of the season, I'd have said you lost your mind. You are outside of your monkey ass mind. This team is going to the Super Bowl. And it's crazy how things happen, man. It's crazy how things happen when you don't have the right culture in place to be able to shake off a bad loss and go on to the next one.
Definitely need culture. Shout out to culture like the Steelers. Every year, the Steelers know how to get into the playoffs and get in that first round and lose. That is some culture. They know how to get to 10 wins and then show everybody who they are at the end of the regular season. 3 straight losses for the Steelers?
4.
4 straight losses. And Joe Burrow going to come in and spank that ass, right?
No, you're right. It is 3 straight losses. If Joe Burrow going to come in and spank that ass, right? I surely hope they do. I should, because I got to be so cold for me.
Shout out to T. Higgins, who played possum on me a lot of this fantasy season. And what would have been a championship game, man, had 3. T. Higgins been playing like a dog all fantasy playoffs, but played possum on me most of the regular season. But yeah, shout out to our Steelers, our fellow Steelers podcasters. Shout out to them covering that team. Must be fun. You guys do get into the playoffs every year. You guys do. Now you got a decision at quarterback to make.
Wouldn't have a decision. You just went ahead and did what I thought they should have done is just go draft one. They don't. They do things differently in Pittsburgh land. They say they don't tank. They don't tank. Okay.
They don't
tank.
They don't need a franchise quarterback. They can win with Najee Harris running for 2.5 yards per carry, 3 yards per carry. Every now and then he break out and get a long Najee 8-yard run. They can win with defense and they can win running the ball. They think this is the 70s still. And I know they're looking at, what do you Bears fans know? We know losing, and we know what's not going to win. And I'm going to tell you right now, you keep thinking that defense and running the ball is going to win, and you're never getting out the AFC ever again. Okay? Because you can't play defense and run the ball exclusively and beat Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, or Pat Mahomes. They're going to be fighting for that AFC for the next 5 years as long as y'all keep with that same philosophy of running the ball and playing defense and throwing one bomb every quarter and having okay-ish quarterback play.
And Lamar. Don't forget them. Lamar's fighting for that.
Lamar, Josh, Pat.
Okay.
At their asses every year. Because them three are going to be fighting. Shout out to Aaron Rodgers, too. People thought he was taking this. They thought he was taking the Jets to a contender. As it looks, it's going to be Josh, Lamar, and Pat fighting for AFC supremacy for a long time. Justin got a shot to get in there, but it's going to be those three.
Yeah, I don't. Justin Fields,
Justin Herbert.
Oh, Justin Herbert. Yeah, I don't think so.
I got to see building, but not this year. I got to see how they build with the Chargers.
Yeah. They do some more things out there. They could, but as I've always said about your boy Harbaugh, his shelf life is never that long. So.
Okay, I take 4 years of Harbaugh. I take it and figure it out. I figured out after 4 years. This year in the AFC, I've pivoted. Man, go Lamar, go Josh. Anybody but Pat. Somebody got to get Pat about that. Man, I don't want to see another Chiefs Super Bowl. I don't even want to see them in a Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's crazy how the Chiefs have now become the Patriots.
Yeah, MAGA team. Man, give me Lamar or give me Josh. I think Lamar got the better overall team. I don't know how much Josh can keep playing Superman and cover up for the deficiencies with the Bills roster. I think the Bills got a decent roster. I think the Ravens got a better overall roster.
Oh, they had 9 Pro Bowlers.
The talent is there. The talent is there in Baltimore. I know everybody was concerned about the defense. They got the Dogs on defense to be a top 10 defense. The Dogs just got to bark.
Yeah.
They've been doing their thing. The Ravens got a good offensive line. They got a good running game. They got a good receiver core. I know people don't, but they do got a good receiver core. Zay Flowers, Pro Bowler. Rashard Bateman is nice. Mark Andrews looked like he turned back the clock 3 years. Can't sleep on the Ravens' weapons.
Nah, definitely can't.
Kyle Hamilton looking like the Kyle Hamilton he was last year. They poised for a run.
As long as they win the division, they're going to.
Oh, they win the division. They'll have the division wrapped up by Saturday when Bailey Zappi starts for the. When they decided Bailey Zappi was the starter, Pittsburgh Steelers have nothing to play for. Because Bailey Zappi ain't going into Baltimore and saving the Pittsburgh Steelers this year.
You ain't lying there. The Browns, the Browns are as sad as the Bears. Thanks for listening to this latest edition from the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan channel. Whether you listen to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or watching on YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, share with a friend, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a drop. And all my homies from Chicago, we say 3 things: bear down, go Cubs go, and sell the team, Jerry.